Okay. Happy Tuesday, guys. Holy cow, my apologies for being 7 minutes late. You want to talk about some serious tech issues? Yeah, I just had 7 minutes of it. So I was trying to actually do this to where I could share my screen with you guys. But for whatever reason, that is not working. So we are just going to forget about the screen share and we are just going to dive into creating flow through alignment. I am very excited to bring this concept to you because this is actually what I have been focusing on inside of my business all of last year. And the result from it has been huge. I have gone from feeling so much resistance, and I felt a lot of this resistance in the last year in things that I was doing in my business because I felt, even though there was a calling behind doing it, there was a misalignment with how it was being produced. And because of that misalignment, it was causing an extreme amount of resistance. And so I said to myself, okay, there's got to be something here that we can do to create more flow. If you can create resistance or experience resistance, then you can create flow and experience flow. So, what does this actually look like? And that's when I started to learn more about harnessing the energy that is around us, that is here to support us. And that is exactly what I'm bringing to you guys today. This is exactly what my membership has formed into after multiple attempts of really trying to figure out exactly what is the best thing for me to do to provide for you guys. And this approach really can help so many more people on such a deeper level. And that's really what I'm here to help you with. So, today we are going to talk about new beginnings, leadership, and bold action. But before we really get into that, as well as, focus areas for this month, business and personal tasks that you can focus on, I'm going to give you guys some content ideas, some self-care ideas. When I talk about self-care, I am literally not talking about going and getting a facial or a massage. I mean, you want to do those things, go do those things. I've done those things and I think that they're great. But this self care that I'm referring to is more of an energetic level. These are things that you can do in sometimes just a matter of minutes that don't cost you anything, that can completely shift the reality that you experience from day to day. And then I'm also going to give you guys some reflection questions. You know how much I love my smart questions, and even an affirmation that you can take with you for the rest of this month. But before we dive all into that, if you are here, say hello. I am so excited that you have joined me today, whether you are here live or you're here on the replay. Feel free to drop questions as I go throughout this presentation. And I will answer them at the end for you. Okay, so flow through alignment. I want you to take a moment and just imagine, what would it feel like if every single decision, task, or project that you tackled didn't feel like that uphill battle? I'm sure that's pretty easy for you to imagine because I'm almost guaranteeing that you've experienced it in some way, shape, or form. If you have, raise a hand in the comments or say, yep, me, I have felt resistance when trying to make a decision, task, whether that resistance showed up for you as, foggy, no clarity, just can't see the end result, not really sure what action to take next. You feel stagnant, like you just can't push forward. Now, picture yourself working with ease and creativity just flowing naturally, and opportunities show up just when you need them. This is what happens when we align our energy with the rhythms of life. And the science and nature of flow shows us that when we stop fighting against the current and start flowing with it, we create not only better results, but a better experience of life and with work. And um, I'm going to try to pronounce this name correctly. Um, Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Okay, Mihai is the first name. Csikszentmihalyi is his last name. This is a brilliant man who really popularized the word flow, right? And did a tremendous amount of studies and research on flow and connecting with energy flow. And he specifically states that flow is a state where productivity feels effortless, creativity flourishes, and tasks become enjoyable rather than draining. Now, raise your hand if you prefer that. Like if that sounds like, oh my gosh, if I could just have that kind of feeling in my day to day, I am here for it. Raise your hand in the comments if that is you. So let's talk a little bit about the concept of flow. People often describe flow as being in the zone. Probably have heard that before. And when you're in this state, time really seems to either speed up or slow down, and everything feels effortless or natural. And this happens when your skills perfectly match the challenge at hand. You are fully present and focused. The experience feels intrinsically rewarding. And the most important thing to make flow happen is when you're working on the right tasks at the right time. And, there's a bunch of research out there that really does support this. And Csikszentmihalyi's groundbreaking research on flow shows that individuals are up to 5 times more productive when in a flow state compared to when they feel that resistance. And there's even been studies that have been published in Nature Communications that have found our bodies are naturally wired for peak performance at certain times during the day, governed by circadian rhythms. And misalignment with these rhythms can lead to 40% reduced productivity and heightened stress levels. Like 40%, like that is not a number to sneeze at, right? And research from the frontiers in psychology, or I'm sorry, not psychology, it's physiology, yes, found that even lunar cycles can influence our sleep patterns, mood, and decision making. I mean, I'm sure you've heard plenty of people talk about, oh, when there's a full moon, like energy is heightened, or things are going haywire and there's chaos. Oh, it's a full moon. Well, no wonder. Like, we're even in a full moon right now. This is what we're talking about, right? There's all these different ways that, or energies that can really influence our flow and resistance. There's also a guy by the name of Tony Schwartz who created an energy management framework and even had it published in the Harvard Business Review. And his framework really emphasizes that aligning tasks with natural energy fluctuations can prevent burnout. He argues that when individuals cycle their energy through focused work and intentional rest, that they experience 30% higher engagement levels and improved overall emotional well-being. Now, who here wants to experience 30% higher engagement levels? If you're not raising your hand, I'm wondering if you're really truly being honest with yourself. And how we talked about like lunar cycles, and there's all these um, different ways, different modalities to really harness the energy. Numerology is one of them and happens to be one of my favorite energy modalities. And while numerology itself really is not often directly studied in scientific terms, mindfulness practices such as journaling and intention setting that are rooted in numerology principles are widely shown to enhance focus and reduce your stress. And a study actually done by the Journal of Positive Psychology, this was in 2016, found that these practices increase feelings of control and alignment by 42%, helping people feel less resistance towards challenges. Now, here's what I want you guys to take away from this, okay? I've just explained to you that there are multiple ways of doing this, right? So it doesn't matter what your approach is. It's all about experimenting and figuring out what works best for you. What is the best way for you to harness your own energy, right? And really filter through what is working for me, what is energizing me, what is draining me, right? So it's really about experimentation. And today I'm going to be sharing with you what my membership creates on a monthly basis and how we're really harnessing. But before we dive into that, I want to share with you how alignment actually creates this flow. And when we align with energetic principles, no matter what principles you decide to go with, right? It doesn't matter. It honestly does not matter. Like, I'm going to be the first to tell you, it doesn't matter. Did I mention that? It does not matter. It's about what works best for you. But when we align with an energetic principle, we make decisions more intuitively. So instead of forcing outcomes or running and chasing after them, we intuitively know when to act and when to pause, conversing energy and avoiding that burnout. Our productivity feels effortless. So, flow states lead to a feeling of time dilation where we accomplish more in less time. I've experienced that like literally for the past 6 weeks. It's blown my mind the amount of crap I've been able to get done on a daily basis. And I'm literally working less because I have tapped into a flow, right? So when we do this, we also start to attract opportunities instead of chasing them. So alignment literally draws opportunities to us, and our energy resonates with the tasks or people that we're meant to engage with. I'm sure that you felt this in real life before if you were to reflect back on, going to maybe a networking event. And there's some people that you just flow and have this connection with. And then there's these other people, while, maybe logically or on paper, it makes sense to work with them or to partner or collaborate with them, but there's so much resistance. Like, there could be many, many things resistance. Like, maybe they don't have the same ideals as you or the same way of doing things as you do, or maybe you're big on communicating through email and all they want to do is text, right? There's some kind of resistance there that can show up in so many different forms. And finally, I want to share with you that the beautiful thing on how alignment creates flow is that our energy feels infinite. So that resistance often comes from working against those natural rhythms. But when we sync that energy, we literally stop wasting energy with unaligned tasks and experience a more sense of abundance because you're doing things that you know that are going to push you forward. So earlier I mentioned that Tony Schwartz had his own energy alignment framework. Now, I'm going to be the first to admit that I have no idea what that framework is. I actually never went and looked it up. I'm kind of curious now that I'm thinking about it. But through going through all the motions that I did last year and trying to find like a structure of how I can really harness this and then be able to reflect back on what I did, realign, and then move forward, I created my own energy alignment framework, and I'm going to share that with you today. So, this is 4 steps, super easy. Write these down. Step number 1 is to uncover the energy of the month. Step number 2 is to determine what business and personal tasks that you're going to do. So, first, you uncover the energy, and then, second, you're going to determine your tasks. Third is to take action. It's as simple as that. You've harnessed the energy, you've determined what you're going to do. Now you actually have to go and do the thing. Like, you actually have to take action. And then once you take action, step 4 comes into place where you reflect, you release what didn't work. You say, okay, I tried it that way, and you know what? It didn't work for me. So we're just going to release it. Or we're going to change it by realigning it, making some kind of shift in that action that you took. And then you're going to resume. You're going to keep moving forward. You're not going to stay stuck in that reflection and release and realign. And this is one of the biggest things that I see a lot of entrepreneurs doing. They get so hung up on it didn't work and they try to go into all of these reasons why it didn't work instead of just acknowledging that it didn't work and then moving on. And that's the biggest thing, is that you have to continue to take action. So, what are different ways to uncover energy? We talked about numerology, human design is another way, astrology. These are, very powerful tools to uncover energy to create flow. But if the whole woo woo really isn't your thing, there are plenty of other ways to harness your energy and tap into that alignment. So, this could look like, can you guess what I'm going to say? Reflection practices. So, you guys know I'm big on reflection journaling, right? I've talked about it in this group before, and I'm going to continue talking about it because it really, really is such a powerful tool to take a moment to check in with yourself. You can reflect on the past, you can think about the present, you can think about the future, and ask yourself what worked last month, what feels really good right now, and what's calling for my focus next. And you can use this reflection to help you determine, based off of the energy level, of how you feel when you're looking at this. Now, this is not an excuse of, oh, I did that thing and had great results, but oh, it was this, and I don't, oh no, I don't like that energy, so I'm just gonna dismiss it, right? It's not quite as simple as that, right? We really want to make sure that we're being very intentional and that we're willing to step outside our comfort zone. So if the energy is like, oh, outside my comfort zone, that's not like an okay, like you're just going to shut that down and not do that because, well, it's outside my comfort zone. No, chances are, if it's outside your comfort zone but you're feeling called to it, that's something that you actually need to go and experiment with. Another way is through energy audits. So you can look at these main areas of your life, business, personal, self care, and ask yourself what feels energizing, what feels draining. These answers will guide your priorities. You can do this through what I call energy tracking. This is actually something that I'm going to be providing my members. Probably in the coming weeks, definitely by February, where I'm going to give all my members a chart that you can use to either digitally use or print it out for my peeps like me who likes to write things down, and pay attention to how your energy like ebbs and flows throughout the week and the month, and then you'll start to notice patterns that show when it's best for you to create and when it's best for you to rest, and then it's best for you to take action, because these are the three things that we're doing, right? We're creating, we're resting, and we're taking action. And then another way, because like I said, there's multiple ways, right? So there's another way, and that's through rhythms and cycles. So you can literally align your actions with just natural rhythms, whether that's your menstrual cycle for my ladies, or just seasonal energy, or even just your weekly highs and lows. But if you notice, one thing that these all have in common is it takes a bit of reflection. It takes you sitting down, intentionally reflecting back upon things that you have been doing or things that you are doing, and what came out of that. How were you feeling during it? What was the end result? Did you get what you wanted? Did you not get what you wanted? Did you kind of get what you wanted and you felt like it was really hard to get there? It's like, wow, is this what they mean? But you got to work hard to get what you want? What does that actually look like? These practices, I want to remind you, are all about experimenting what works for you. It's literally what I did all last year, is I experimented and then I found what works, and I really started to create a structure for my business around it. And ever since I've doing that, things have been flowing so easily. Now, you can do what I did and through trial and error to figure out the flow. Now granted, I will let you know that it took me like a year, a little over a year, to really harness through trial and error what worked for me. But here's the thing, you don't have to do it that way. If that feels overwhelming or daunting to you, or just like, oh my gosh, like just give me the thing. Well, what if I were to tell you that the energy, or like, how would you feel? Let's go with that. How would you feel if I literally handed, I don't have anything like close by here, I have a magazine, handed you what the energy for each month was going to be on a silver platter, complete with tools and the guidance and inspiration to help you fully, truly harness it on a month to month basis. And that's exactly what the membership is here to do. It takes the guesswork out of aligning with the energy of the month, giving you insights that you need to work smarter instead of harder. And speaking of energy, January this month actually carries the very potent energy of one in numerology. Now, don't get that too mixed up with the fact that January is the first month of the year. It just so happens that this year lines up that January is one, but that's not always the case because in numerology, the numbers go from 1 to 9. There's 12 months in a year, so it's not always going to line up. It just happens to be that way the start of 2025. And what a beautiful way to introduce this into your life and an easy way to do it. Easy way to remember, where am I at? It's January 1st month, one energy, right? This energy is all about new beginnings and leadership and planting seeds for the future, taking bold action. So, if you're ready to hear more about how you can use this energy to set the tone for the rest of this month, because you still have a couple of weeks left so you can still harness it, then stay tuned because that's exactly what we're going to dive in. So, let's talk about this new beginning leadership, bold action energy. This is really to focus on initiating and taking those bold steps towards your goals. Right? This energy really thrives on self empowerment and initiating new projects and new ideas. It really encourages fresh starts, right? Independence, taking the lead in your life. What are you, how are you going to show up as the leader in your own life, right? If you're not ready to lead in your business, right? How can this show up for you in your own life? Bold action doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be this big, huge thing, right? I'm going to give you an example. You see these lips? Mm-hmm. Now, when have you ever really seen me in the past? If you've been around, if you're new, this doesn't really apply to you, but when have you ever really seen me wear such a bold color on my lips? Never, never, never. The answer is never, right? But me just wanting to experiment and to see what happens when I take a bold action, when I step outside my comfort zone, like highlighting my lips, which is one of my least favorite features of my face because I feel like they're really thin, they're really wrinkly because I drink through straws and have my whole life, so it looks like I have smoker lips. So the idea of putting a bold color that stands out on my lips, bringing more attention to my lips, totally outside my comfort zone. So this is a big, bold action that I am taking. Guys, it can be as simple as that when you're in this experimentation phase. Like, is this really something that I want to do? I'm not asking you to take on this new concept, new idea, and apply it to something that could dramatically impact your business. That's not what this is about, right? This is about you uncovering and connecting with yourself and what self empowerment looks like for you. How can you give yourself more confidence, right? So, focus areas for January are really about clarity and goal setting. So, reflecting on what you want to create this year and set those clear intentions. Not necessarily acting upon all of them or making sure that everything gets, taken through all the steps of what you create for your goals and doing all of the actions by the end of the month. That's not what this is about. This is about initiating, right? Taking the lead, being proactive, and initiating the projects that really truly align with your vision and getting rid of the ones that don't. You want to talk about a bold action? A bold action is clearing out space, clearing out all of the things that are causing resistance inside of your life, inside of your business, right? We clear those out to create space for things to come in that are in alignment, that can create that flow. That is a dang big, bold action, friends. Literally, it can be as simple as that. It can be applied in so many different ways. And another area of focus is really about building up your confidence and independence this much. So, making those decisions confidently, all right, even if it does require stepping outside your comfort zone, like wearing red lips for the first time. All right, so let's dive into what some business tasks for January can look like for you. Launching a new offer, service, or product. Now, you might be saying, what if I don't have a new offer, a new service, or a new product? Well, what is an offer, service, or product that you haven't talked about in a while? You can relaunch a pre existing one if you don't have something new to offer, right? And it could be as simple as an opt in, maybe that you have to help build your newsletter. Right? How can you put that out there as if it is new? Maybe you refreshen it up a little bit, add a little something to it, another big takeaway or ROI that the recipient can experience by opting in and receiving your opt-in, your free download. Defining clear business goals for the year is another great one. This is a branch off of the work that we did inside the membership in December, where we were really honing in on what didn't work for us in 2024 and releasing it and setting ourselves up, creating those initial business goals. Well, now is the time to really define and get clear, right? What is it exactly that you want? Refreshing your personal brand to reflect your 2025 intentions. Once you've set those business goals and you've gotten clear on them, then you create intentions for what are you going to do in order to bring your goals to fruition, to manifest them into your real life. And I gotta let you know, refreshing my personal brand to reflect my 2025 intentions has been one of the main things that I have been working on all month. I've done a little bit of changing. I'm not rebranding, but I've done a little bit to just really make sure that my personal brand is aligned with my true self, right? With my soul purpose, with what I am here to do. There is actual meaning now behind my brand fonts and my brand colors. It's not just, oh, it's pretty and I like it, right? Or, oh, this color palette looks so fluffy and light and attracting and all these things, right? It gives me all the feels, but there's actual meaning behind everything that I'm doing inside of my personal brand. So I'm updating things as I go along to make sure that my brand is really reflective of my intentions. Oh, another really amazing business task to do for January, if none of these have resonated with you yet, is to set up tracking systems for growth metrics. Like, if you aren't tracking your growth throughout the year, how do you know what kind of growth you've experienced? We need to have some way of reflecting. And I know that this can be scary, right? It can be scary to go and look because it might show you that you haven't reached the goal that you set for yourself for Q1. But without realizing it, you can't make clear decisions on what actions that you need to take next in order to bring yourself back to your goals. Okay, so let's dive into content ideas for January. Um, Posting about embracing new beginnings is a beautiful, beautiful content idea. So this could look like jumping into stories and just on IG and just talking about something new that you're doing and how you're embracing it and saying follow along for the journey. It could be a carousel if you have like a list of tips that you want to share, like, hey, this is what I'm doing and these are the steps that I'm taking, come along with me. um, really sharing tips for goal setting or new year reflection. um, Whatever it is that you're doing in your business, take those tips and share them with your audience, right? Bring them in, let them be a part of your world in the sense of you are showing up to show them that you're there as a collective, right? And that you're not necessarily above them. Like, oh, I've set my goals, but I'm not going to share with you how, right? Like, no gatekeeping here. Like, it's all about being here for the collective. You can create a reel or carousel just talking about the power of fresh starts, and you can share a story of a time in your life where things weren't going the way that you wanted, and so you started fresh, and this was result of it. For those that have created a word of the year, you can share that, right? And why you chose it. That's a great piece of content to talk about. Also sparks engagement because you can ask them to share in the comments what their word is and maybe why they chose it. So it's a great way to spark some engagement. You could do this through reel, you could do this through carousel, you could do this through stories, you could do this through a live. There's many ways that you could do this. And you don't just pick one. Like, pick multiple, right? And you could do it a couple of different times throughout, these next couple of weeks as we wrap up January. And if you're really feeling to take some bold action and step outside your comfort zone, I would challenge you to host a live on Starting Strong in 2025. And what does starting strong really look like, and what does that mean for you? Okay, so got some business tasks there. So real quick, post about um, let's back up a little bit. Okay, so business tasks, we talked about launching a new offer, service, or product, or relaunching something that you haven't talked about in a while after you refresh it a little bit. Make sure that it's up to date. Defining clear business goals for the year, refreshing your personal brand to reflect 2025 intentions, and setting up tracking systems for your growth so that you can see the work, you can see the fruition of your work that you're putting in. And if you don't see anything happening, then it can say, okay, well, am I just not taking enough action, or do I need to change the action that I am actually doing? Content ideas were post about embracing new beginnings, share tips on goal setting, create a reel or carousel or any kind of content that talks about the power of fresh starts, sharing your word of the year, why you chose it, and that extra little bonus of hosting a live on Starting Strong in 2025 and what that really looks like for you. So now that we've talked and reviewed business stuff, let's transition over to what you can do outside of your business, right? Because this is not just about your business, right? This is about your whole life as a whole, and your business is just a part of your life. But there's this whole other area of your life that has absolutely nothing to do with business. So we want to make sure that we have flow in all the areas of our life to really remove that resistance and enjoy more happiness, right? And more joy and more energy. Like, who wants more energy this year? So, personal tasks that we can do that really embrace this new beginning, bold action, leadership type of energy is to write out your personal intentions for the year. You can create a vision board that really focuses on new opportunities. I'm so excited because I'm being a part, I'm not hosting it, but I'm a part of, or I'm going to a vision board workshop this weekend, and I've got my poster board. I've been going around to all businesses collecting magazines, all the things. I'm super excited. I haven't done a non-digital vision board. I can't even remember the last time that I did one like in real life. It's been probably at least 5 or 6 years. So I'm super excited. Anyway, um, trying something new, a new hobby, a new experience, creating a new habit, like maybe reflection journaling, right? Trying something new and just experimenting with it. Um, you could also plan a solo day to focus on self growth and clarity, like literally block out a day, whether it's you know, even if you can't dedicate a whole day, we're at this point in the month, maybe you've got plans for the rest of this month and you're like, I can't set aside a whole day. I'd have to cancel a whole bunch of commitments. Well, definitely don't do that. But, even if you can set aside 10, 15 minutes, right, to just focus on that self growth and gain some clarity through meditation, which is also something that we do inside of the membership before we dive into each workshop, going over all this information that I'm sharing here today with you guys. I set you up with a meditation and then give you that audio inside of the membership so that you can refer to it whenever it is that you're feeling so called to do. All right, so let's talk about self care, right? I talked a little bit earlier about self care, and that I'm not going to sit here and give you suggestions like go get a massage or a facial or anything of the sort. Go spend a day at the spa or go get your nails done or do your nails. Or this is not the kind of self care that we're talking about. Um, really the energy for self-care is focusing more on those solo activities, right? Goal setting, personal empowerment practices, and really anything that fuels independence. So again, spending that solo day, right, to reconnect with your inner vision and gain that clarity, right? This is a version of self-care. This is a self-care practice that you're doing. Journaling, I'm gonna keep bringing it up. And journaling can really look like a bunch of different ways for people. For me, it's about physically writing things out. For other people, it could be voice noting stuff and just talking it out. Um, there's lots of different ways. So even if you're like, nope, I can't sit down and write things out, find another way of getting this information out of your body and out in front of you. Decluttering your workspace for clarity and focus. As a Virgo, this is one of my favorite things to do is to declutter my workspace. I do this a couple of times a week, really, and I always make sure that come Monday, my office is cleaned up, my desk is cleared, I've got myself up so that when I walk in on Monday morning to sit down and work, I'm not greeted by chaos, but I'm greeted by intentional organization of my workspace to set me up for success. That's much better energy to walk into. And this is about doing something for me, which is what self care is, right? It's about doing something for yourself. Another example of some self care for January is listening to a motivational podcast or audio book, or even doing something as practicing breath work to really harness that inner energy and ambition. There is breath work available for free anywhere and everywhere. You can go on YouTube. I know there's multiple apps like Insight Timer. I think even Calm has some free breath work. So there's no excuses. This is something that you can easily do for free. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up with some reflection questions for those that really want to dedicate some time to gaining some clarity on what their inner vision really is, or maybe you have an idea and you just need to get a little bit more clarity on what that actually looks like in your day to day. So the first question is what bold step can I take today to set the tone for my year? Like what is one thing that I can do today to set the tone for you? Even if it's just claiming, right? Or creating some space inside of your calendar that I'm going to set aside this amount of time to sit down and really get clear on my goals. Right? So what bold step can I take today to set the tone for my year? Also, how can I lead with confidence even when stepping into new territory, right? Because stepping outside your comfort zone is typically a result of stepping into new territory. And it's outside your comfort zone because you're unfamiliar, right? You don't know what's going to happen, what the result is going to be. So, how can you step into that and lead that action with more confidence, right? So, journal that out, just let it flow. Another question is, what do I want to initiate in my business and personal life this month? What's something new that I want to do? Even if it's something small, like wear red lipstick, right? You're still initiating something new. It doesn't have to be huge, huge, huge in regards to what you're actually doing. And finally, what old patterns or habits can I release to create space for fresh starts, right? Go into your calendar, right? Say, um, you know, really 80% of our calendar needs to be changed. This is something that I discussed or shared with my membership last month before we dove into planning for 2025. Is that about like 80% of our calendars really need to be revamped. And here's why. If you think about what are your priorities, go look at your calendar and say, does my calendar support my priorities? So let's say that health is a priority for you, being healthy, not getting sick, feeling strong, having energy. So, what does your calendar look like that's really supporting this priority and value of health of yours? You know, we hear the excuses all the time, well, I don't have time to work out, or I don't have the energy to work out. My day was super busy and now it's the end of the day. And yes, I have an hour. that I could go dedicate, but I don't have the energy and I'm just too tired. Well, it's because you filled your calendar with stuff that drained your energy and you didn't leave enough in your reserves for the end of the day in order to do it. So, what was the priority? Was the priority your health or was your priority all the other things that you did? The reality of it is your priority was all of these other things, not your health. So, what old patterns and habits are you doing, right, that you can release to create space for fresh starts? Like, okay, I am going to prioritize my health. So, I'm going to put my health time blocks on my calendar, and nothing gets to override them because it's a priority. If somebody wants to meet with me during that time, sorry, I'm not available. If they really, really want to meet with you, then they'll find a time that works well with you. And it's not a you have to be fixated. That's people pleasing, by the way. When you keep changing your own priorities and your boundaries to accommodate other people, that's people pleasing. And people pleasing is actually, it comes from a place of fear, not from love. It's not you trying to satisfy everybody else and make them happy. It is more coming a deeper from a place of fear of what's going to happen if I don't accommodate them, right? Am I going to lose the lead? Are they going to hire somebody else? Or, am I not going to get whatever it is that I want because I'm afraid if I don't say yes to this person, that nothing else is going to come along, right? That is a very, very destructive pattern and habit that leads to all of the people pleasing. Okay, so finally, I'm going to give you guys an affirmation, right? And I'm actually going to put it down here in the comments so that you have this to take with you if I can get my stuff to work here. Let's see. Okay, copy, and we're going to paste over here. So I would encourage you to write this down somewhere, print it out, whatever the case may be. I am the leader of my life. I take bold, aligned action to create the future I desire. I'm going to say it again. I am the leader of my life. I take bold, aligned action to create the future I desire. That's beautiful. I hope that hits home for you a little bit more. All right. So, just a quick recap of what we really discovered and uncovered today, which is how to access flow through energy alignment. And there are so many different ways to uncover the energy that you're wanting to work with through reflection practices, energy audits, rhythms and cycles, and even energy tracking. You can go as deep as diving into numerology or your own human design or astrology, even getting a reading done of your natal chart to see what energies are showing up for you and when. And then you want to focus on certain areas in your life according to that energy. And then we also talked about some business tasks and some content ideas, as well as personal tasks and self care. And I even gave you guys some reflection questions. So I want to say I'm sorry that I wasn't able to share my screen. I really tried to do that and it just was not happening. But I want to let you know that all of this information is all inside of the membership portal. And everything that we do in there is recorded. There's replays. So even if you can't join live, you're able to go in at your own time and get the information that you need, or join live and get even more support that way because you're able to interact. So I want to officially invite you guys over to the Rising Entrepreneur membership. I'm going to put a link down below where you can go and find more information on it very soon. Right now, we are still in the building stages of this membership, so I am still taking on founding members. So you're getting in at half off, and this really isn't going to ever happen again, where you get half off. And this is an opportunity for you to come in and you have have the option to do a full year commitment, or you can even do a month by month. So if you're like, you know what, I'm going to try this out for a month and just see what this is really all about, see if it's an alignment for me and my business and my vision for this year, then come in for just a month and try it out. Come in, grab the resources, and then leave if that's what you're being called to. This is not a situation where you have to give everything without really determining if this is the right thing for you. So if you have any questions about the membership, drop them in the comments below. I'll be checking in. You can also feel free to reach out to me privately through DM or even through email. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. I'm not going to be taking founding members for that much longer, and then the price is going to go up. And it's also going to be a relatively closed membership. So there's only going to be certain times of the year where the doors are open for you to come in. So now is a beautiful time to set yourself up for the entire 2025 year in this way and experiment. No matter what, even if you don't want to join the membership, that's totally fine. I hope that this has inspired you to slow down and reflect and harness the energy in the way that feels the most aligned for you. So, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope that you have an absolutely beautiful day, and I'll see you guys soon.